Hi everybody! Jazz hands. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make a fun pair of earrings using recycled tins. So you know those things that like cookies and popcorn stuff come in at the holidays? You can actually cut this metal out and make some really fun earrings. So some have really cool patterns on them. For example, like I found this vintage tin. It's got this cool flower pattern on it. I have a couple, like I think I picked up, like this one I think was a set from IKEA. This one, was like came with tea in it. So if you have any of these laying around and you don't need them anymore, you can actually cut them up and make jewelry out of them. And they have all these fun colors and patterns. And it's thin enough metal that it's pretty easy to cut. All you need to make these earrings is some tin of your choice. You could also use like soda cans too, would be a fun alternative. You're gonna need some metal cutting shears. You're gonna need some hole punching pliers. And you're gonna need some templates, as well as like a Sharpie to draw the shapes with, and something to sand your metal when you're done cutting it. So I have just like a little sanding sponge here. These templates are great because, as you can see, they come with different sizes, graduated sizes. So if you want to make an earring that is layered and has two different sizes on top of each other, it's already got that taper for you. So I got these from a couple different online retailers, cooltools.us and Artclade World USA. Another place I think you could look is Metal Clay Supply. I think might also carry these templates. And then one other brand, I think this might be from Metal Clay Supply, is Quick Art is a template name there. So you can go ahead and look those up. You could also grab circle or oval templates. I think I got these just at Hobby Lobby. So you can find templates all over the place. You might even have some laying around in your house. All right, so let's get started. So to start with, I am going to pick this oval shaped template, and I am going to do a graduated size. So the back one, I'm going to actually do this larger pink tin. So I'm going to pick one size smaller. So if you want them to be this one, I'm going to go with this little bit smaller one. I'm actually going to trace this on the back side so I don't have to worry about if my marker doesn't want to come off later. And I have a thin line Sharpie that I'm going to use to trace my pattern onto my sheet metal. Okay. There's the one. Because this is earrings, I need two. I'm going to flip it so that they nestle a little bit closer and I don't waste any of my metal. There you go. The metal cutting shears, I'm just going to actually cut a little bit smaller piece. Be careful when you're cutting not to scratch the surface, because the coloring can scratch off really easily. See that? So you want to be careful when you're cutting it that you're not scratching the metal. Okay. So I'm cutting a smaller piece, you can see here, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut along the lines of my Sharpie to cut out my shape. Be careful of sharp edges on your metals, because even though it is thin metal, it can still be pretty sharp. Okay, so there's my first shape. Cut a little bit crooked there. All right, there we go. There's number one. I'm going to do the same thing with the second piece. If you want, you can cut off that tail there. Some of this is fun too if it does get a little scratched and scuffed, or maybe your tin is already a little scratched and scuffed up. You can give it that kind of rustic vibe to it. So just because your tin isn't in pristine condition doesn't mean that you can't use it for jewelry making purposes. All right, so I have two ovals cut out here. And then all you're gonna do is you're gonna take a little sanding sponge and you're gonna sand on the edges. You're gonna sand until when you kind of gently rub your finger on the edge, it doesn't feel sharp anymore. It actually doesn't require half as much sanding as you would think that it would to get it to that point. So at that point, this is actually pretty smooth. If I wanted to, I can come down at a slight angle. If you can see, I'm kind of coming like this at an angle and knocking off any burrs on the edge. What this will also do is it gives you a slight silver ring around the outside of your metal. That can look really pretty. I have a slight little bump of my metal here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and clip that off. If you have files, you could also go around and file this so that it's a little bit more symmetrical if you didn't cut it out as well as you would have hoped. All right, so there you go. Here's one that I've sanded. I just need to sand the second one, and then we'll go on to the next layer. So the next layer, like I said, we're gonna do that slightly bigger size oval. And once we have both of our ovals cut out, we can actually layer them on top of each other and have a really fun look. The great thing about the tin is it's like so lightweight. So even though we're making kind of a bigger earring, you will not be able to tell that you have a large earring on because the weight is going to be non-existent. Okay. So there I have those guys. I'm going to real quickly punch a hole in here. If you want, you can take your Sharpie and again, kind of mark the placement of where you want your hole to be. You don't want the hole to be too close to the edge, but you also don't want it too far in because then when you hook your ear wire on it, it'll have a difficulty hooking your ear wire on it if it's too far in. All right, so I punched my little hole there. I'm going to punch it in this other second one here. Oh, it didn't pop all the way through, so I'm just going to take my pair of flat nose and kind of pull off that little tab that didn't punch all the way through there. Alrighty. So you have two earring pieces right there. I'm going to set those aside. I'm also going to take this tin that I'm not using and put that over there. Now this tin hasn't been broken down yet. I don't have any cuts in it, so I'm going to have to cut into it for the first time. Again, using my metal cutting shears, I'm just going to cut through the side. Again, be very careful because this metal can be very sharp and I don't want you guys to cut yourself. You could cut the whole thing off of the bottom. You could also use the bottom as like a silver tone metal. But I'm just going to cut a small section out to work with for these earrings. Okay. So I have my sheet metal here, and again, I'm going to do the same thing where I flip it over. I'm getting a little bit of a rim here, so I'm going to cut this part off too because it won't lay flat, and I can't get a good trace on my shape. Okay, so now I have my sheet metal here. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to find my Sharpie, and we're going to do that neck size up. So I used that for that one. So we're going to go to this bigger size here. And again, because it's a pair of earrings, I'm going to cut two. Now, if it was a pendant, I would only need the one. Okay, there's one earring piece. There's two earring pieces. I'm going to cut off the excess there. You can use this piece for another project. I'm also going to cut off the excess here. And then cut the two pieces apart. These shears, I love these red and white handled shears. They're great for cutting not only the tin like this, but they're also good for cutting like copper and brass sheet of the thinner gauges. Like 24 gauge, 22 gauge, these cut copper and brass really well, as well as sterling silver. I do have these tools available on the website. So if you wanted to buy like a little kit that has the hole punching plier and the metal cutting shears, you could do that. And then you could make these at home, like I said, with whatever tin that you have on hand. The other great thing is you can always find tins at like the Salvation Army or Goodwill, because people don't know what to do with these. All right, so again, I have my shapes cut out, and I'm just gonna sand the edges. To get rid of any sharpness. Now, if you actually have like a burr where like a piece of metal is sticking off, like a little tab of metal, that you need to cut off with your shears. So the sanding sponge is just kind of smoothing out the roughness, any little bit of sharp edges, but it's not going to remove like large pieces of metal. If you had like an actual snag of metal, it would just rip into this sanding sponge and just rip it up, and you wouldn't be able to use it anymore. All right, so there's my first earring. Okay, now what I want to do is I want the holes to line up, so I'm going to line the two pieces up on top of each other like so. And I already have a hole punched in this top layer. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to put the hole of my hole punching plier in that hole, line it up, make sure everything is lined up the way that I want, and punch through. Again, if your little punch didn't punch all the way through, you can just grab a pair of flat nose and pull it all the way out. So there you go, there's the one. Now I just need to sand this next one here as well. I have a little bump out of metal there, so I want to just smooth that over, so I'm clipping that off. Now, like I said, if you wanted to make these a little bit more distressed, you could actually come in and scuff up the surface with the sanding sponge. It makes it kind of have more of a matte finish. I don't know if you can see that. If this was a gritty or sandpaper, it would actually like remove some of the color. Just kind of making it more of a matte finish. Here's the one that I kind of made more of a matte finish, and this is the one that's a little bit shinier. Okay, so now I need to punch the hole in that one as well. So I'm going to grab my other piece, line it up. Again, line the hole, my hole punching plier, in the hole that's already in this top orange piece. Punch it out. Okay, there we go. So we have two little earring pieces. Now all we need to do to finish them up is put them on ear wires. So to attach them to the ear wires, you need to find out where this ring on the bottom opens. So when you open a ring, you never want to just pull the two parts apart so there's no longer round. You want to kind of twist the two parts away from each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this front side where my pliers are holding. That's where it opens. And I'm going to kind of slightly pull up just to get the two pieces apart. I don't know if you can see that this is slightly open. I'm going to just pull it apart slightly more. And then I'm going to come in and hook in that pink piece and that orange piece, and then twist that back shut. Look at that, look how cute that is, and super lightweight. I'm going to do the same thing to this other one. Again, find where the ring opens, grab it here, and I'm doing the kind of this motion with my hand. I'm holding this one kind of steady. I'm just kind of twisting, like I said, those two parts apart from each other, but keeping the ring round as opposed to like taking this and pulling it out like that. All right, so I'm going to hook the pink piece in, the orange piece in, close that back up. And look at that, a fun pair of earrings. That took me like 15 minutes to do. Look at that. And you have a new pair of earrings. There you go. Thanks for watching. Bye.